You're watching Morning Live. Thanks for tuning in. Now, on Sunday, President Cyril Ramaphosa said he was going to take up the Public Protector's report on his 2017 campaign finances on urgent judicial review. Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane found that Ramaphosa deliberately misled Parliament and violated the executive member's ethics code regarding a R500,000 donation that he received from Bosasa boss Gavin Watson. Now, she also said that his campaign funding needed to be referred to the relevant authorities for money laundering investigation. And Ramaphosa has called the report fundamentally flawed, saying it contained numerous inaccuracies. And joining us now for further discussion on this is ANC National Spokesperson Pule Mabe. Thanks so much for your time once again.
Morning, Sakina, and morning to your viewers.
Let's start at the end. Yesterday's Constitutional Court ruling against Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane. And what is the ANC's view, your reaction to that and its impact on not only the Office of the Public Protector, but on other Chapter 9 and state institutions as well?
Well, as you know, Sakina, the ANC has always expressed itself around respecting all of these arms of the law, whether it's the judiciary, it's Chapter 9 institutions, and the ANC wouldn't want to enter the space of dictating to them how they should conduct or execute their own responsibilities. What is important is for all institutions to respect powers that are vested in others. Because when that happens, it also allows our people, the country over, to be able to respect those institutions as well. And I'm sure we have been watching those developments with keen interest, but it is not for us to really veer into the space to speak about their merits or demerits, because we believe that all of these institutions have got different responsibilities to perform in the interest of the country and to make sure that we remain lawful as a country.
Reading both the minority and the majority judgments in this particular instance, they both raise very, very valid and very critical points about perhaps the chilling effect that this could have. The minority report refers to the ruin, the personal ruin that could accrue to the person of the Public Protector, and what sort of impact that could have on people occupying that office going forward. Surely the ANC needs to be concerned about these
Well, of course, it is a concerning issue. That's why it is in our best interest that all of these institutions, when they execute their responsibilities, they also enforce public trust in them. So, and this public trust can also come about when they coexist in a manner that each one of them appreciate the powers that are embedded in them. Especially, so you talk about the Chapter 9 institution and what has happened here. You'd also expect that our own subcommittee that deals with governance, governance and legislative issues would have to also veer in and begin to advise that what are the things that the Chapter 9 institutions going forward should be doing, and what are the kind of instruments that our own oversight committee in Parliament should do to make sure that there is, one, an enforcement of their own role, so that you do not have judgments that, if read by others, they could ultimately erode what is expected to be the authority of this Chapter 9 institutions.
So the Democratic Alliance, whom I spoke to earlier, they of course are forging ahead, trying to get the process of removing the incumbent from office expedited in Parliament. What's the ANC's stance on that?
Well, the ANC has never had a discussion on the removal of the Public Protector. The ANC, even our own president, has spoken about how much we in the movement respect these Chapter 9 institutions. So we would not want to be drawn. You see, the opposition political parties don't dictate the agenda for the African National Congress. The ANC is capable of setting its own agenda. And once the ANC has set its own agenda, it will also be able to come to the public and communicate what sort of steps it is taking. As matters stand now, we support the different Chapter 9 institutions that are there, whether it's the Auditor General, whether it's the Public Protector's Office. And we believe that they must be accorded the space to do their work.
Staying with the Public Protector, very damning findings against the President of the country. What's the ANC's reaction to that report?
Well, Sakina, just as a matter of principle, we stand by the President of the African National Congress. the president this Sunday took the nation into his confidence on the sort of steps and measures that he's going to be undertaking. Now, the actions taken by the president are quite interesting because they are consistent with what we spoke about. We said that we are going to build a capable, ethical, developmental state. Now, a capable and ethical state is one where the men and women who are charged with the responsibility to lead the public are able to be transparent, to be responsible, to be seen taking charge where there are issues that affect them, where they need to explain themselves, which is what has happened here. The president didn't wait for a month or so, no. He immediately took the lead and said, I'm subjecting this to a judicial review. I'm going to be dealing with what I foresee to be inaccuracies in the report. He's exercising his right when he does that. The party issued a statement on Saturday, standing behind our own president, and we believe that he must be accorded the space to take the sort of measures that he has spoken about. You see, Sakina, just before we went on, you and I were speaking about the importance of unity. The unity of the ANC is sacrosanct. It is important that at any given time, the ANC is seen to be united, because when the ANC is united, it will be able to consolidate its program to renew the South African society. You know, Amika Cabral makes a point that people are not just fighting for ideas. People are fighting for material things. People are fighting to see change in their own lives. We have got young people who are unemployed in this country. We have got crippling underdevelopment, whether it's in townships, in our rural areas. What is required there is for an ANC that is decisive to be able to consolidate a program that changes the trajectory in society. Assure our people that it is possible for them to still dream, for them to still hope, for them to still see the compact that the ANC entered into with them through the manifesto as a program that could be able to turn their lives around. So we want our president to be able to be given the space to lead that trajectory. He said when he delivered the State of the Nation's address that let's build the South Africa we want. Now, the South Africa we want is the South Africa where young people have got access to opportunities, where young people are given the skills that are responsive to the economy. So our president is acting in a manner that will allow him to continue doing that work. He has subjected this report to a judicial review so that this does not distract from the work that is expected to be delivering together with members of his national executive.
And that's what the president is doing. But what is the ANC doing in dealing with this? I've heard murmurs of a special NEC meeting that was to be called to look into these and other matters that have arisen over the last while. Is there any truth to those?
No. What I can tell you now is that the ANC is united behind its president, and the ANC is going to do everything else it can in its power to make sure that it consolidates the unity of all of its structures. President Ramaphosa and the collective, as elected at the 54th National Conference, must be given the space to drive forward the resolutions that we agreed on, must be given the space to deal with all of the problems that in Gulf society. We said that we are not going to compromise in dealing with acts of corruption and malfeasance. The president has been upfront in terms of
So let's talk about that, because as the African National Congress, are you consistent in how you are treating your own members in this regard? Yes, the president is taking this on a judicial review. However, the findings in that report are damning. There's talk about money laundering. Surely this is something that should concern the African National Congress. And if we look at, for example, and it's not necessarily apples with apples, but on a principal matter, you look at the executive mayor of eThekwini, who was asked to stand aside, take special leave while matters are being dealt with. She's, of course, been charged with corruption. Very serious matter. And the ANC says, please step aside. So with regard to these very serious allegations against the president, not only of the ANC, but also of the country, are you saying you're simply going to say, oh, the matter has been taken on judicial review, the ANC will not deliberate on it?
Well, Sakina, the ANC has got, I can tell you now, we are an open organization. We deliberate on any matter that is before us. We would have deliberated on this and any other issue in our own space as an organization.
So you have deliberated on this matter?
Well, Sakina, if we do so, it is a preview of the organization.
So you haven't deliberated on it as yet?
I don't think that at this stage that is actually critical now. Well, what I'm saying is that we will discuss this and many others. We have got an NEC that is sitting this coming weekend. We had an NWC that said yesterday. The point that I wanted to really take forward is that the President of the African National Congress is not charged. We need to understand that. But two, there are certain issues that are coming up in the report by the public protector, which are matters of the organization. For instance, the public protector has got no space to deal with campaigning in the ANC. I mean, that's really far from her own
No, but in fairness, she wasn't necessarily dealing with campaigning in the ANC.
Yes,
it would seem as though she stumbled across these dealings that were going on in the finances.
I wouldn't want us to go into the merits of that because the president has subjected
But you raised it.
Yes, I'm raising it in the context of the question you raised about the mayor of eThekwini and all of that. So I was trying to give a certain context. But the context here is that the president of the African National Congress has subjected this matter, has already said he's subjecting this matter to a judicial review, has spoken about all the other issues that concerns this report. Now, it would be preemptive of us to want to speak on top of that action.
Which is why I said it's not necessarily the same matter, but in this instance, the mayor has been charged. She's going through a process in the courts of the country. She hasn't been found guilty as yet. But the ANC said to her, can you please step aside? Because these are serious, damning allegations. And then, the going forward as well with the president. But I want to just perhaps in closing, the allegations made by former President Jacob Zuma at the Commission of Inquiry into State Capture about other members of the ANC being spies. What is the organization's view on that?
Just one line quickly on the president, just to assure you that we have got full confidence in the president of the African National Congress, and we must never at any rate compare any other member of the ANC to the position held by the president. The president is the apex leader of the movement, and we stand by the president of the ANC, and we believe that the actions that he has sought to undertake are befitting and will be able to lay this matter to rest. Let's allow that process to be undertaken. The former president of the ANC is in the witness box, ventilating and saying his own views. It is really not our space to speak about, to approve or disapprove of what he's saying. They are administrators of law and justice at the state capture inquiry. They will be able to make a determination themselves. And at the end of this, they will be able to say, this which was said by this witness and this which was said by that witness makes us arrive at this determination. Only at that point will the African National Congress speak. As matters stand, we have got full confidence in all our leaders, including Comrade Mago Ramatlhodi, who serves in the National Executive Committee of the ANC.
Well, thank you so much for your time this morning. National Spokesperson for the African National Congress, Pule Mabe. Time for headline news here on Morning Live. Public Enterprises Minister Pravin Gordhan is going to court today over Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane's report on the so-called SARS rogue unit. The minister wants the North Gauteng High Court to suspend and interdict the remedial action